energy crisis. And back then I was thinking, boy, when I grow up, I'm going to do stuff differently than my parents are doing right now. And unfortunately, it's taken me 30 years to actually make that happen.
Bill and Debbie Lord are passionate advocates for solar power. Their custom-designed home near Kennebunkport, Maine, is their second solar house and is prominently featured in solar magazines. Bill Lord has a website for the curious.
The podcast originates from the Maine Solar House,
And he offers on-site tours for those interested in converting to solar power.
Our goal is to serve.
He begins his show and tell in the basement.
This is our power generation station. This is where we convert the electricity that comes down from the roof to household current. When the sun hits the panels on the roof, it agitates the electrons in the panels. The electrons come down the wires to these inverters. It's direct current. Most homes don't operate on direct current, they operate on alternating current. So these two white boxes are converting it to household AC.
In addition to their solar electricity panels, the Lords have solar hot water panels that feed a radiant heating system in their floors. With large insulated tanks to store the sun-heated water, they have vastly lowered their gas bills as well as their electric bills.
The system handles itself. It turns itself on in the morning, it shuts itself off at night. We can be far away and it still works on our behalf.
Meaning his house is producing electricity whether he uses it or not. And what he doesn't use goes back to the grid for other houses to use. And since the utility company gives him credit for the excess electricity, something called net metering, Bill's bill is shockingly low.
On a monthly basis, we pay $7.47 to be hooked up to the power company. Essentially, we pay nothing for electricity.
With over 40 states offering similar net metering credits, why aren't America's roof houses crammed with solar panels?
The first question, of course, as a consumer is, what is this going to cost me? That's the sticker shock. For a normal house, you need between 2 kilowatts and 4 kilowatts of photovoltaics. And this is going to run you someplace between about $15,000 to $28,000.
And if you have a large house and add solar hot water panels as the Lords did, the price can go even higher.
The active solar elements in the house cost about $50,000.
And it's the high cost of solar power that underlies most arguments against it.
Right now, solar panels are not very efficient and they're expensive.
The only people that have those solar collectors are really very wealthy people.
But is this really true?
Well, last I checked, we weren't very wealthy.
The Reeveses are a two-income, middle-class family with a budget that won't allow many extravagances.
We're kind of building our home. We have a son who is in school, and we have a lot of other things that we could be doing that we need to.
But when they learned the state of Massachusetts would pay half the cost of their panels, they jumped at the opportunity.
I don't think we would have done it without the state support.
The Massachusetts grant made what would have been a $24,000 investment $12,000. 14 states currently offer similar incentives. And then there's the additional benefit of net metering.
It's the bill for this month, and it's $129, and it probably would be double that last year at the time.
On average, Phil Reeves now pays less than half what he once paid for electricity. He doesn't save as much as Bill Lord, since he doesn't have as many panels. But saving money was never his only goal.
I know that I'm reducing my carbon footprint in the world. I feel great about having the panels installed.
A sentiment shared by virtually everyone who goes solar.
It's not about payback. It's about first treading lightly on the environment, not using fossil fuels to do the work that other homes require fossil fuels to use. And over the last 11 years, 70 tons of CO2 have not been put into the atmosphere because we've used solar power.
Power plants that use fossil fuels are responsible for 40% of the carbon dioxide pumped into the atmosphere every day. And rising CO2 levels are a major cause of global warming.
Human society is burning coal, oil, and gas to get energy.
And the result of that burning is carbon dioxide. CO2 level has never been this high for millions of years. And carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. And what that means is it is very good at absorbing heat that is emitted from the Earth's surface. And sometime in the next 50 years, we're literally going to go off the scale here. The Earth's atmosphere acts like a greenhouse, absorbing some of that heat energy and radiating it back, ultimately increasing the surface temperature of the Earth by a small amount.
And this rise is contributing to severe weather conditions that seem to be growing worse each year.
The expected consequences of climate change, I think many people are familiar with. Flooding in some places, droughts in other places, melting of glaciers which cause sea level to rise, bigger, more powerful hurricanes, and a variety of other unusual climate effects. But what actually scares me are the next ones. It's the surprises that really hurt people.
Concern over global warming has helped boost panel sales 600% since 2000, as more people try to do their part to stave off crisis. But all the solar panels in America produce only 2 coal plants worth of electricity, an amount not even close to meeting the power requirements of a major city. And more power is what every city needs, especially when the weather turns hot and air conditioning use soars.
A dangerous heat wave is making people miserable from coast to coast.
And thousands of deaths are being blamed on 12 days of extreme heat.
Double-digit temperatures of 120 degrees in some places.
And that putting a terrible strain on the power companies and the people who depend on them.
How long would lines out?
It's July 25th, 2006, week 2 of record-setting Los Angeles heat wave. And nowhere is the heat more intense than in the grid control room at Southern California Edison, and on its grid control manager, Tom Vitello. It's Vitello's job to direct the electricity generated by the region's power plants to homes and businesses, traffic signals and hospitals, and everywhere in between. But the very nature of electricity makes this all a high-stakes poker game where the losers could be us.
You can't store electricity like you can store lots of other things like bananas or copper or other commodities. That's why you're always going to be a grid manager. And these are very courageous men and women who are asked to do the impossible, to predict tomorrow or the next hour how much electricity supply we're going to need based on how many people might turn on their air conditioner or how many factories might suddenly decide to go into high output mode.
Although Vitello tries not to show it, this is about as stressful as a job can get, as the heat wave is forcing SoCal's 13 million customers to use more electricity to keep things cool. And this is when most blackouts occur.
What causes blackout is when there is insufficient supply on the system to serve the customer demand.
The current heat wave is producing dozens of localized blackouts that are being blamed for scores